Edgar Allan Poe was an influential man who wrote a series of poems and short stories, including The Raven, which is mostly about death. After his death, many people started saying that Poe died of alcohol poisoning, heart attack, rabies, or cooping. Today, Poe's death is shrouded in opinion and contradiction. The essential details of Poe's final days leave us with more questions than answers. Poe's death must probably remain a mystery, but the puzzle still teases and entices us. It is easy to find ourselves reviewing the stories again in hopes of finding something new to settle the question once and for all.
Dr. Smith, can you please tell us about the evidence of an alcohol-reasoned death?
Perhaps the strongest evidence for an alcohol-related death is in J.P. Kennedy's October 10, 1849 note in his diary.
On Tuesday last, Edgar Allan Poe died in town here. He fell with some companion here who seduced him to the bottle. The consequence was fever, delirium, and madness, and in a few days, the termination of a sad career in the hospital.
Reynolds!
In the book, A Defense for Edgar Allan Poe, Dr. Morin stated,
I have stated to you the fact that Edgar Allan Poe did not die under the effect of any intoxicant, nor was the smell of liquor upon his breath or person.
In the fall of 1848, Poe proposed marriage to the poet Sarah Helen Whitman, who had agreed to marry him on the condition that he would quit drinking.
Will you marry me?
I will marry you if you quit drinking, Edgar.
Yay!
After Edgar proposed engagement to Sarah Whitman, he could not get sober, so Whitman called off the engagement a month later.
Edgar, you are still drinking?
What?
That's it. This marriage is off.
No! Sarah, wait! Wait, Sarah, it's just apple juice.
A summer later, Edgar arrived in Richmond, who wanted to propose to his childhood sweetheart, Amira Shelton.
Elmira,
Hello, Edgar.
how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Will you marry me?
Oh, of course I will.
Yay!
After his engagement, Poe joined the Sons of Temperance, a 19th century Alcoholics Anonymous.
My name is Edgar, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hello, Edgar. Poe traveled to Baltimore, and he arrived on September 28, 1849, but no one knew where he was for a few days. Then on October 3rd, he was found semi-conscious, lying in a gutter, and his clothes didn't fit. Then he was taken to a hospital.
Although the alcohol theory is commonly accepted as the cause of Poe's death, there is controversy as to whether or not it is true.
Dr. John W. Francis diagnosed heart disease, but Poe denied it.
Mr. Poe, I hate to tell you this, but we diagnosed you with heart disease.
I do not have heart disease.
In letters to Maria Clem on July 7, 1849, Poe wrote,
I have been so ill, have had the cholera, or spasms quite as bad, and can now hardly hold the pen. Miss Shue, tell us a little bit about Mr. Poe's heart problems.
Well, I saw the scar of the wound in the left shoulder while helping him dress. I asked if he was hurt in the region of the heart, and he said yes.
Dr. John C.S. Munker gave it as his opinion that Poe died from excessive nervous prostration and loss of nerve power resulting from exposure affecting the encephalon, a sensitive and delicate membrane of the brain.
Arnold Carlin theorized that Poe may have died from a rare enzyme disorder. He believes that a combination of alcohol dehydrogenase deficiency syndrome and brain disease explains his alcohol problems. This also explains his fits of madness and sudden death.
Historical accounts of Poe's hospitalization indicate that at first he was delirious, with tremors and hallucinations. Then he slipped into a coma. He emerged from the coma, was calm and lucid, but then lapsed again into a delirious state, became combative, and required restraint. He died on his 4th day in the hospital. According to an account published in the Maryland Historical Magazine in December 1978, the Baltimore Commissioner of Health, Dr. J.F.C. Handel, certified that the cause of Poe's death was congestion of the brain. Dr. Benitez says in the final stages of rabies, it is common for people to have periods of confusion that come and go along with wide swings in pulse rate and other body functions such as respiration and temperature. All of that occurred for Poe according to the medical records kept by Dr. John J. Morin, who cared for Poe in his final days.
In addition, the median length for survival after the onset of serious symptoms is 4 days, which was exactly the number of days Poe was hospitalized before his death.
Poe's doctor also wrote that he had difficulty drinking water, which is a sign of hydrophobia, a symptom of rabies.
Oh, water.
Had Benitez actually read Morin's tale, he would no doubt have been disappointed to find that the sentence was changed to read, I put a small lump of ice in his mouth and gave him a sip of water to ascertain what difficulty, if any, he had in swallowing. He drank half a glass without any trouble.
Mr. Poe, I have a glass of water.
Water. Without evidence of hydrophobia, the possibility of rabies evaporates.
The theory in the majority of Poe biographies is cooping. Poe was found on Election Day in Baltimore at a bar that was also used for polling. Baltimore elections were notoriously violent, and gangs would go to extremes for votes. Victims would be kidnapped and put in rooms called coops.
Oh no! I'm being kidnapped. I'm putting in a room called a coop.
Then they would be forced into poll after poll
Get over here and vote.
after poll.
Vote. Now.
Sometimes even forced to change their clothes.
Kill it. I know you can walk. Get over here and vote. Now.
Hart couldn't have stood so much stress.
Get over here. Get over here.
Cooping explains all of his symptoms.
Poe's death may forever be a mystery. Was it alcohol, heart disease, rabies, croupier? This is a secret that Poe may have taken to his grave. Whatever the cause, it is sure to captivate Poe's fans for decades to come.
Yay!
Are you recording me?
Yes.
After his proposal, he joined the Sons of Temperance, a 19th century Alcoholics Anonymous.
Hello, Edgar.
Leave.
Historical accounts of his hospitalization indicate that at first he was delirious with tremors and hallucinations. Then he
I
slipped
don't have a
into
mustache
coma.
on, dang it.
I knew we were getting something.
He gave him a sip of water to ascertain had Benitez actually read Morin's tale, he would no doubt have been disappointed to find that the sentence had... His heart wouldn't have stood so much stress.
Without hydrophobia, the case I screwed up.